This program is brought to you by the Stanford Humanities Center. For more information, please visit us at shc.stanford.edu.
I have given a couple of talks to Thai students on campus, including a informal talk with undergraduates in science and engineering and mathematics and medicine to tell them about the Humanities Center, about the need to be balanced in our knowledge acquisition, about the need to have well-rounded views, to have diverse views, and that life and academic work and learning is not all about science and engineering. And this is the case with a lot of Asian students here. The Asian students normally find scholarships in the science and engineering rather than humanities. And this has a long-term implications for Southeast Asia, for Thailand, because a lot of students who are trained at places like Stanford, they go back to be engineers, doctors, scientists, but very few in humanities. And when you have very few in humanities, it's understandable because they cannot find a job easily. So it's also about bread and butter. They need to find jobs, they need to have income. But what happens to the societies that they return to is that it becomes lopsided. Lots of engineers, lots of scientists, but not enough philosophers and historians, literary critics and artists and so on. And those societies in time become uneven, and you can see sometimes in Thailand, for example, very difficult to have an open, engaged, constructive debate because many people see issues as black and white, as either or, but in fact the humanities is anything but either or. It's open-ended, and sometimes we have to leave it inconclusive. We have to sometimes agree to disagree. But there's a richness and enrichment that the Humanities Center provides scholars and practitioners and students. And sometimes I think we overlooked the subjects of the humanities.
Now, if we look at the humanities in Indonesia and compare it, let's say, with engineering, supposedly, quote unquote, more practical disciplines, would you say that Indonesia can do without the humanities? That, what we really need is to build roads, our ports need improvement, infrastructure, hard science, architects and so forth, and we really don't need, poetry, right? Would you argue that? Or would you argue there is a role for the humanities? And if so, what is that role in Indonesia?
I think so. There is a big role to play in the humanities. Yes, we do need these hard science departments to grow, enroll more students, produce more engineers, because the country needs them badly. And objectively, we need them. I think we need to enlarge that. The humanities, the study of humanities is there. And I think this is the challenge for anybody studying humanities in Indonesia. We have learned that humanities, social science that we learn today is mostly result of experience of social transformations taking place in Europe or in North America. And scholars have been able to convert those experiences into modern social science using modern social science language. Therefore, it becomes universal. I mean, if you look at the history of the nations, it's been led by people of humanities background. And yes, Sukarno is an engineer, but if you look at the writings, you look at the how he viewed things, it was much, the creativity is there, the imagination is there, and it was rooted more on his reading on humanities and social science instead of his reading on engineering, for instance. And I think
of course, some would argue that Sukarno, although he was the father of the country, he also messed up the country. I mean, that's a historical debate. But your point's well taken. I mean, and in a way, his romantic projection of a charismatic personality was critical in bringing people together and giving them some sense of identity. I think that has to be recognized. And an engineer could not necessarily do that. That's a skill that has
But
to do
I-
with
but
knowledge
I-
of human beings and
Right, but I must also say that we need badly to develop our hard sciences,
right,
definitely.
right, right.
So, yes, the humanity is there, it's rooted strongly. We have quite a good stock,
yeah, yeah.
but we also need to develop.